Admiral Hoshiro braced against the sudden lurch, her knuckles white on the command chair's armrest. The klaxons on the asterisk Sol Invictus asterisk wailed a frantic symphony, a sound she'd hoped never to hear again. On the main view screen, the shimmering emerald void where the Ilosian blockade had been moments ago now pulsed with furious, chaotic energy. Debris, molten and incandescent, spun away from a point of impossible brightness. Report. Oshiro's voice cut through the din, a sharp blade of calm amidst the storm. Her gaze flickered to Commander Vance, his face grim, sweat beading on his temple. The Ilosian fleet. It's gone, Admiral. Vance choked out, his eyes wide with a mix of terror and disbelief. Just atomized. We're detecting an unknown energy signature. Massive. Off the charts. A fresh wave of alarms blared, overriding the battle warnings. Proximity alerts. Something was asterisk coming asterisk. On screen. Hoshiro commanded, her breath catching in her throat. The static on the main display cleared, resolving into a sight that stole the air from the bridge. It wasn't a ship, not in any conventional sense. It was a colossal, obsidian obelisk, miles long, materializing from the emerald chaos. Its surface was impossibly smooth, absorbing the light of distant stars, reflecting nothing. No engines, no visible weaponry, no discernible features beyond its sheer, terrifying scale. Its simply asterisk was asterisk. Is that what we called? Ensign Rena whispered, her voice barely audible, echoing the silent horror spreading through the bridge crew. The Plea, broadcast on every known frequency, every forgotten channel, had been a desperate final gamble. Asteriskany advanced civilization, hear our plea. The Ilosians will scour us from the stars. We offer knowledge, alliance, anything for salvation asterisk. They had expected a battle fleet, a diplomatic envoy, even an invasion. Not asterisk this asterisk. Maintain distance, Hoshiro ordered, though her own instincts screamed at her to flee. Scramble all long-range sensors. Get me a full spectral analysis of that thing, and try to establish communication. On all frequencies, every known protocol. The obelisk didn't move. It hung there, a silent, terrifying judgment. Then, from its impossible depths, a single, piercing beam of white light erupted, not toward the asterisk Sol Invictus asterisk, but directly into the heart of the Ilosian homeworld's atmosphere. On the auxiliary display, the planet, a vibrant swirl of blue and green, shimmered and then dissolved. Not exploded, not shattered. Just asterisk unmade asterisk. The light expanded, devouring the planetary mass, leaving behind only a swirling vortex of shimmering dark energy. A collective gasp swept through the bridge. Admiral Hoshiro felt a cold dread settle in her stomach, heavier than any fear of death. This wasn't salvation. This was something far, far worse. They had called for help, and the galaxy had answered with a reaper. Admiral, Vance stammered, his face ashen. Life signs from the Ilosian homeworld. Gone. All of them. In an instant. Hoshiro stared at the swirling void where a civilization had just been. They didn't just destroy it, she murmured, her voice hollow. They erased it. Her gaze shifted back to the obelisk, now subtly changing, its smooth surface rippling as if vast internal machinery had just been activated. And they're looking at us. A low hum vibrated through the deck plates of the asterisk Sol Invictus asterisk, growing in intensity. It wasn't an alarm, not a warning, but a resonant frequency that seemed to bypass the hull and reverberate deep within their bones. Admiral Hoshiro felt a tremor pass through her. "What is that?" Vance asked, his voice strained, clutching the edge of his console. "Sensors are going wild, Admiral," Ensign Rena exclaimed, her fingers flying across her holographic interface. "Energy fluctuations, It's like it's scanning us. Everything. Our entire ship. Our very biology. On the main view screen, the colossal obelisk began to emit a faint internal glow, a web of pulsating lines visible just beneath its impossibly smooth surface. The lines shifted, coalesced, then resolved into a colossal, intricate symbol. It wasn't any known language, alien or human, but something primal, universal. A series of interconnected geometric shapes, impossibly complex, yet strangely familiar. Magnify, Oshiro ordered, her voice quiet, almost a whisper. She felt a profound chill, an ancient fear stirring within her. As the symbol filled the screen, a new sound resonated from the obelisk. Not a hum, but a presence. A voice, if such a thing could be called a voice, that bypassed their ears and settled directly into their minds. It spoke in concepts, in feelings, in pure, unadulterated information. Asterisk, you called. We answered. Your distress was noted. Your aggressors are eliminated. Your systems are cataloged. Your intentions are unclear. Asterisk. The last word, asterisk unclear asterisk, resonated with a cold, absolute certainty that offered no room for doubt or deception. Vance staggered back, clutching his head. It's in my mind. It's showing me everything. Rena whimpered, covering her ears, though the sound was not audible. It knows. It knows about everything. Project Chimera, the weapon prototypes, the colony on Kepler 186f. Oshiro stood firm, though the mental intrusion was an icy blast. It was like a surgeon's probe, meticulously sifting through every thought, every memory, every secret she'd held. She fought against it, a futile, desperate struggle, but it continued, unimpeded. It was reading her history, her species' history, in the blink of an eye. The wars, the triumphs, the atrocities. The plea for help. Asterisk your species. Aggressive, resilient, self-destructive. Possessing limited understanding of cosmic order. Your actions demonstrate a capacity for both profound compassion and unimaginable cruelty. This dichotomy is anomalous. Asterisk. The obelisk pulsed, and the mental voice sharpened, gaining a new chilling edge. Asterisk, you sought intervention. Intervention has been delivered. Your value must now be assessed. Resistance will be met with cessation. Asterisk. Hoshiro's mind raced. Cessation. Not destruction. Not elimination. Erasure. The exylosions had been erased. The obelisk was not a weapon of war, but an instrument of cosmic sanitation. And they, humanity, were now under evaluation. Admiral. Vance gasped, his face ashen, pointing a trembling finger at the main screen. It's moving. Towards us. The massive obelisk began to slowly, inexorably drift towards the asterisk, Sol Invictus asterisk. Not a threat, not an attack, but a patient, inevitable approach. Like a giant, silent predator assessing its next meal. The hum intensified, vibrating through the ship, through their very cells. Oshiro knew, with a horrifying certainty, that the assessment had begun, and the price of failure would be absolute. The obelisk gloomed, eclipsing the distant stars. Its silent approach was more terrifying than any barrage of enemy fire. On the bridge, the crew of the asterisk Sol Invictus asterisk was paralyzed, not by fear alone, but by the relentless, invasive probe of the alien entity. Oshiro saw Rena convulse, a silent scream twisting her face. Vance stumbled back from his console, his hands pressed hard against his temples, his breathing ragged. Asterisk your species' capacity for internal conflict is significant. Your history is replete with self-inflicted wounds. Yet, you also demonstrate remarkable resilience, and a surprising capacity for collective action when faced with external threat. This anomaly requires further investigation. Asterisk. The mental voice echoed in Hoshiro's skull, a cold, clinical assessment that stripped bare every pretense. She felt the probe delve into her own memories, not just of battles and strategies, but of loss, of family, of the sacrifices she had made. It dissected her motivations, her fears, her every moral compromise. "Admiral," Vance rasped, his voice barely a whisper, his eyes wide and unfocused. It's projecting images into my mind. Of Earth. Of the colonies. It's showing me the worst of us." He shuddered, a full-body tremor. "The famines. The genocides. The times we turned on each other." Hoshiro's jaw tightened. She was seeing them too. Flashes of humanity's darkest moments, laid bare for an alien intelligence to judge. The Great Purge, the Jovian Wars, the resource conflicts that had nearly torn the species apart before their desperate flight to the stars. "It's trying to provoke a reaction," Hoshiro stated, her voice hoarse, fighting against the mental onslaught. "It's testing our limits. It's looking for a breaking point." Suddenly, the intrusive voice shifted, a new, more pointed question cutting through the mental noise. "You possess significant destructive capabilities, yet you offered alliance. You claim to seek peace, yet you built instruments of total annihilation. Explain this contradiction. Your existence hinges on your response." The obelisk hummed, its internal glow intensifying. On the main screen, the colossal symbol writhed and pulsed, now resembling a question mark carved from pure darkness. The pressure in Hoshiro's mind became almost unbearable, a physical pain behind her eyes. She knew this was it, the moment of judgment, the final trial. We built those instruments out of necessity," Vance shouted, his voice cracking, as if speaking aloud could reach the alien mind. "To defend ourselves, to survive." The mental voice responded, cold and immediate. Survival often necessitates adaptation. Your adaptation has been extreme. Your inherent volatility is a risk, a variable. Hoshiro knew pleading wouldn't work. Logic alone wouldn't either. This entity didn't understand fear or desperation. It understood data, and humanity's data was a confusing, contradictory mess. But she knew one truth about humanity, a truth that Isilosians had never understood, and perhaps this cosmic arbiter wouldn't either. "We build weapons because we are afraid. Oshiro projected, not just with her voice, but with every fiber of her being, a silent defiance against the mental probe. "We fight because we are passionate. We seek peace because we have known war. We are not a simple equation. We are complex. And we will not be erased simply because we defy your logic." The obelisk pulsed. The hum intensified to a deafening roar. The question mark symbol exploded into a kaleidoscope of rapidly shifting, impossible geometry. And for the first time, Hoshiro felt a crack in the alien's impenetrable wall. A flicker of something akin to surprise. The kaleidoscope of symbols on the obelisk's surface spun faster, the mental pressure building to an agonizing crescendo. Hoshiro felt her knees buckle, but she forced herself to remain upright, glaring defiance at the impossible entity. The bridge crew was a tableau of suffering. Vance was slumped against his console, breathing in shallow gasps, while Rena had curled into a fetal position, trembling uncontrollably. Surprise? Noted. Your self-assessment is unique. Most species, when confronted with absolute power, offer subservience. You offer paradox. The mental voice pulsed with a new, unsettling quality, a subtle tremor that hinted at something beyond cold calculation. The obelisk itself seemed to vibrate, a low thrum echoing through the very fabric of the Sol Invictus *. Then, without warning, a smaller, perfectly symmetrical section of the obelisk's surface slid inward, revealing a void of absolute darkness. From this void, something began to descend. It wasn't a probe. It wasn't a weapon. It was a single, immense sphere of pure, swirling light, impossibly bright, yet not blinding. It drifted towards the asterisk, Sol Invictus asterisk, its silent approach radiating an intense, raw energy that made the ship's shields flicker erratically. "What in the hell is that?" Vance croaked, pushing himself up, his eyes wide with a mixture of terror and morbid fascination. It's projecting something," Rena whimpered, her hands still clutching her head, but her gaze fixed on the approaching sphere. "Images. Memories. But not ours. Theirs." Hoshiro felt a torrent of information flood her mind, overwhelming the lingering pain. It wasn't the cold, surgical probe of before. This was a cascade of sensory input, a vivid, emotional panorama. She saw stars being born, entire galaxies forming and collapsing. She witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations, species blooming and fading like cosmic flowers. She saw the immense, agonizing weight of an existence spanning eons, burdened by the responsibility of cosmic custodianship. The Deathworlders had not merely been a metaphor. They were a reality for this entity, a necessary, chilling function of universal order. We are the architects. We are the cleaners. We maintain the balance. We called the chaotic. Your plea disrupted a long-standing protocol. Your species, a nexus of paradox, threatens the equilibrium. The voice, now tinged with a weariness that resonated with the weight of unimaginable time, delivered its verdict. The sphere of light paused directly before the asterisk Sol Invictus asterisk, pulsing with an almost sympathetic energy. "What do you want from us?" Oshiro demanded, pushing past the mental onslaught, her voice raw. The answer resonated not just in her mind, but through the ship, through space itself. We offer a choice. Submit to assimilation. Your volatility will be contained, your potential harnessed for the greater order. Or, demonstrate your value. Prove that your paradox is not a flaw, but a necessary component of the cosmos. Prove your worth, or be excised. The sphere of light pulsed, and a single infinitely complex symbol projected itself onto the main view screen, hovering between the ship and the terrifying obelisk. It was the original symbol they had seen, but now it was incomplete. A missing piece. A void that only humanity could fill. The ultimate test. The incomplete symbol hung in the void, a cosmic riddle demanding an answer. Admiral Hoshiro felt the chilling weight of that demand, the fate of humanity resting on her shoulders. The sphere of light, emanating from the obelisk, pulsed with a calm, unnerving certainty. It was an offer, or perhaps a final judgment. "What does it mean, Admiral?" Vance whispered, his voice hoarse, his gaze fixed on the symbol. "How do we fill the void?" Oshiro's mind raced, sifting through the torrent of alien memories she had just received. The rise and fall of civilizations, the meticulous maintenance of cosmic balance. The architects weren't malicious, merely absolute. They pruned the unstable, assimilated the chaotic, and humanity, with its paradoxes, its cycles of creation and destruction, was the ultimate wild card. Your species' capacity for self-destruction is unmatched. Yet your capacity for innovation, for compassion, for art, is equally profound. These are the elements of your paradox. Demonstrate which will define your future. Prove your worth. The mental voice of the architects was no longer a probe, but a challenge. A test of essence. "It's not about what we do Hoshiro stated, her voice gaining strength, a sudden clarity cutting through the terror. "It's about who we are Her eyes swept across the faces of her crew, each one weary, traumatized, but still present, still breathing, still fighting to comprehend. They're showing us their history. They're showing us our history. They want to see if we can reconcile the two. A thought, terrifying and audacious, sparked in Hoshiro's mind. A desperate gamble. "Open a channel," she commanded, her voice firm. "To every human ship, every colony, every outpost. Broadcast this signal." She gestured towards the incomplete symbol on the screen. "And tell them. Tell them we need to show them our entire story. Not just the triumphs. Not just the failures. All of it." Vance stared at her, horrified. "Admiral, are you insane? To reveal everything. Our weaknesses, our vulnerabilities. To asterisk them asterisk." He gestured towards the silent, judging obelisk. "They could use it to dismantle us piece by piece." "They already no asterisk it, Vance." Hoshiro retorted, her voice rising. "They've already scanned us, processed us, judged us. What they haven't seen is our choice our collective will. Our capacity to acknowledge our flaws and still choose to build, to love, to strive." Rena, still shaken but recovering, looked up, a glimmer of understanding in her eyes. "You mean a collective memory, Admiral? A shared consciousness?" "More than that, Rena," Hoshiro affirmed, her gaze fixed on the incomplete symbol. "A collective act. We will show them our art, our music, our literature, our scientific breakthroughs, our moments of selfless courage, and yes, our wars, our mistakes, our cruelties. But we will show them that even in our darkest hours, we carried the spark of something more." The obelisk remained silent, the sphere of light patiently waiting. The architect's judgment hung heavy in the vacuum. Oshiro knew this was not a diplomatic negotiation. It was a test of character, of the soul of species. If they failed to prove their unique value, their inherent paradox would be resolved the only way the architects knew how, through extinction. The final, irreversible decision was made. Humanity would lay itself bare, hoping its complexity was its salvation, not its death sentence. The message, a desperate plea, and a profound act of vulnerability, rippled across the human interstellar network. From the bustling hubs of Mars to the nascent colonies on the fringe, every screen, every comm unit, every implant began to display the architect's enigmatic symbol. And then, the deluge began. A torrent of data, unprecedented in human history, began to stream towards the Sol Invictus asterisk, and from there, projected directly into the sphere of light hovering before the obelisk. It was a chaotic, beautiful, horrifying mosaic of humanity. Ancient cave paintings flickered into existence, followed by the towering spires of Gothic cathedrals. The gentle strum o' lute gave way to the soaring crescendos of a symphony orchestra. A child's first halting steps melted into the graceful pirouette of a ballerina. The raw, primal fear of a soldier in the trenches morphed into the quiet courage of a scientist sacrificing everything for a discovery. Vance watched, transfixed, as images of humanity's greatest triumphs and deepest sorrows cascaded across the view screen. He saw the joy of a wedding, the agony of a funeral. The meticulous construction of the first FTL drive, immediately followed by the devastating orbital bombardment of a rogue colony. The tenderness of a mother cradling her child, juxtaposed with the cold, calculating eyes of a dictator ordering genocide. Your projections are overwhelming. The volume, unprecedented. The architect's voice resonated with a distinct change, a subtle shift in its emotional timbre. No longer solely clinical, a hint of something akin to bewilderment, perhaps even fascination, permeated its mental presence. "We are overwhelming," Hoshiro stated, a fierce pride swelling within her. "Because we are complex. We don't fit neatly into your categories. We are both the plague and the cure, the destruction and the creation. We are the paradox." The sphere of light pulsed faster, its inner swirling becoming more intense. The obelisk itself seemed to absorb the information, its black surface rippling with the echoes of humanity's shared consciousness. The pressure in Hoshiro's mind was still there, but it had transformed from a sharp pain into a dull throb, almost background noise to the torrent of shared experience. Suddenly, a singular image solidified on the view screen, projected not by humanity, but by the architects. It was a scene from Earth's distant past, a single human, small and vulnerable, standing before a vast, untamed wilderness, fire clutched in their hand. Then, the scene shifted, showing the same human, now older, reaching out to another, sharing the warmth of that fire. Asterisk, we see the fire, we see the sharing, and we see the burning of forests. Your paradox is profound. Asterisk. The voice paused, then delivered a statement that made the breath catch in Hoshiro's throat. Asterisk. The void, it is filled. Not with a single answer, but with a question. Your species asks to be understood. A unique request. Asterisk. The obelisk began to recede, slowly at first, then gaining speed, pulling away from the asterisk, Sol Invictus asterisk. The sphere of light compressed back into its dark aperture, which then sealed, leaving the impossibly smooth, obsidian surface once more. The hum in the ship faded. The mental pressure dissipated. The klaxons were silent. The Isolosian blockade was gone. The planet they had inhabited, a swirling vortex of dark energy. The architects were gone, and humanity was left, not with an answer, but with a chilling, profound realization of what they had just revealed about themselves, and the terrifying question of what the architects would do next. A profound, unnerving silence descended upon the bridge of the asterisk, Sol Invictus asterisk. The raw terror had receded, replaced by an exhaustion so deep it felt like a physical weight. Admiral Hoshiro stood, leaning heavily on the command chair, her gaze fixed on the empty space where the colossal obelisk had been. "They're gone," Vance murmured, his voice hoarse, as if he barely dared to speak the words. He rubbed his temples, his face still pale. They just left." Rena slowly straightened, her eyes wide, a tremor still running through her. "They said, a unique request. What does that even mean, Admiral?" Hoshiro didn't answer immediately. The sheer enormity of what had just transpired washed over her. Humanity had bared its soul to an incomprehensible cosmic entity. Every flaw, every triumph, every secret, exposed. And in return, the architects had offered no judgment, no clear directive, only a question. "It means," Hoshiro finally said, her voice quiet but firm, "they haven't decided. We presented them with a paradox they couldn't immediately resolve. We defied their categories." She looked at her crew, a strange mix of relief and dread settling in her. "We showed them asterisk us asterisk. All of us. And it seems that was enough to give them pause." But the pause was not peace. The swirling dark energy where the Isolosian homeworld had been was a stark reminder of the architect's capacity for immediate, absolute removal. "Admiral." Vance interrupted, his eyes scanning his console. "We're receiving new comms. From every major power. Every colony. They're all asking, what happened? Why did we send everything?" His voice dropped. "Some are outraged. Others are terrified." Hoshiro nodded. The fallout would be immense. Humanity had willingly exposed its deepest wounds, its most shameful acts, to an alien power. The trust among nations, hard won after centuries of conflict, would be shattered. The fragile unity forged in the face of the Tylosian threat would likely crumble. "Prepare for a full debrief with High Command," Hoshiro ordered, her mind already racing ahead to the inevitable political maelstrom. "Send the full logs of this encounter. Every sensor reading, every communication, and prepare the ship for immediate return to Earth. We need to explain this." "Explain what, Admiral?" Rena asked, her voice laced with despair. That we showed an alien species every reason to destroy us, and they just left. Hoshiro turned, her gaze hardening. We explained that we gambled everything, and for now, we survived. We explained that we demonstrated a complexity they hadn't encountered before, and we explained that the ultimate judgment is still pending. She walked to the view screen, now showing only the distant, indifferent stars. The architects didn't say we were safe. They said we were a unique request. That means we are now a Project Asterisk, and they will be watching. The chilling implications settled over them all. Humanity hadn't been saved. It had merely been granted a stay of execution, conditional on its future behavior. The threat was no longer an invading fleet, but an unseen cosmic observer silently assessing their every move. The real trial had just begun. The Sol Invictus jumped back into charted space, the familiar constellations a comforting, yet alien, sight after the void. Admiral Hoshiro felt the weight of every nautical mile, every shared memory, every horrifying revelation. The silence on the bridge, once filled with the architect's invasive presence, was now thick with unspoken questions and a chilling sense of reprieve. High Command's debrief was a maelstrom of accusations, fear, and disbelief. General Kalin, head of the system's defense fleet, slammed his fist on the holographic table. You mean to tell me, Admiral, that you broadcast every single one of our species' dark secrets, every war crime, every environmental catastrophe, every act of pure human depravity? Hoshiro met his furious gaze, unwavering. I presented the architects with the complete truth of humanity, General. They demanded our essence, our paradox. We gave it to them. She gestured to the news feeds scrolling silently on a side screen, already showing widespread panic and unrest across the colonies. The public knows. The Exilosians are gone, but so is our perceived innocence, and our absolute secrecy. And what was the result? Demanded Ambassador Valerius, his face pale with barely contained fury. A cosmic pat on the head. A unique request. What does that mean for our future, Hoshiro? It means, Hoshiro stated, her voice cutting through the rising clamor, that we have been granted a period of observation. They did not destroy us, nor did they assimilate us. They are watching . Every conflict, every act of compassion, every decision we make from this moment forward will be scrutinized. A new alert flashed on her personal console. Admiral Vance, still aboard the Sol Invictus was reporting a surge of unidentified energy readings from the outer rim, near the Tylosian sector. Not the architects, not their signature, something else entirely. General, Ambassador, Hoshiro said, her eyes narrowing, the Exilosians were merely one threat. The architects, in their impartiality, have cleared the board. But a cleared board is an empty one, and the galaxy abhors a vacuum. On the Sol Invictus Vance watched the new signatures resolve. Smaller, faster vessels, scavengers, marauders, alien species that had once steered clear of the Tylosian Imperium, now eyeing the power vacuum, seeing opportunity in the void. He knew, with a terrible certainty, that the galaxy hadn't become safer. It had become wilder . The terrifying, omnipotent hand of the architects had swept away one enemy, but in doing so, had removed the very barrier that had kept humanity contained. Hoshiro ended the comlink with High Command, her gaze fixed on the image of the Exilosian void. We showed them our complexity, our capacity for both good and evil. Now, we must show them which side will ultimately define us. Because this isn't over. It's only just begun. The silence in the command center was profound. The cosmic arbiter had made its decision, leaving humanity to face a future where every choice held not just terrestrial, but cosmic consequence. The unknown enemies would come, drawn by the new emptiness and space, and humanity, now stripped bare of its secrets, would have to decide if its paradox was indeed its strength or its ultimate undoing.